We are going to have Minister Shirley Phillips open with a prayer.
Let us all be in a moment of silence, please. O gracious and almighty one, these thy children have gathered here to pay homage to those persons who fight for us to have freedom. As we gather here, let us be reminded of what we have to do to keep honor and keep their dreams alive. May we be safe. May we leave this place in a better mind than we came. May our minds be rehired to go back into our communities, into our own destinations, to a free world, making sure that we honor those who are suffering and make sure we have compassion for those who are having and being subjected to all kinds of evil things being done. Oh God, as we, thy children, close our day, let us be mindful of how and what we owe to each other. This we ask in your name. Amen.
Now, if you could all stand in your spot. If you are sitting, please stand for the Black National Anthem. Lift every voice and sing.
Thank you, colleagues. We will now have Dr. Joyce Rain Anderson up on the stage to read the land acknowledgement.
I humbly ask us to acknowledge the indigenous peoples whose land we are on. 69 villages once made up the great Wampanoag Nation, people linked by language and lifeways until settler colonialism thrived on the shores with the intent of taking over, colonizing the peoples and the lands. Accurate American history is often glossed over in the books and education. It is time to reckon with the history that we are a nation built by stolen bodies on stolen land. Each of you participating here today is living on Indigenous lands. Wherever you are and wherever you go, it is your responsibility to find out whose land you're on and acknowledge the people and place. In these spaces, you'll find reminders in the names of rivers, streets, trails, or public areas. As current occupiers, this is an invitation for you to find out what those mean in Indigenous languages, which reveal deeper meanings in history. Bridgewater State University exists on land that is part of the Setauket or Bridgewater Purchase of 1649, which includes Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, West Bridgewater, and Brockton, or formerly North Bridgewater. Massaquatucket means the great pouring forth place where the rivers converge. The Setauket River is also part of the Wampanoag Canoe Passage. Bridgewater has also been called Titicut after the Massachusetts village at the place of the Great River, now called the Taunton River, which flows out to our ocean. Our Commonwealth name, Massachusetts, means at the Great Hills. You can see that land has meaning. Wampanoag and other Indigenous peoples of this area have been here for millennia, living as caretakers of these lands long before the 1620 landing of the Pilgrims, long before Columbus Day, and despite many attempts at erasure, Indigenous peoples are still here. As beings living on these Indigenous lands, we should commit to learning more accurate histories, to honor and incorporate Indigenous knowledges and other knowledges into our teachings, to understand the meaning of land as our relative and not a commodity. And a land acknowledgement should not be taken lightly, but as an act of disruption in order to undo this erasure. It is a call to action. A land acknowledgement urges us to be accountable, to undo colonial practices, and continue to stand in the way of true equity for all. Katapatamanaw.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce Van Anderson, for the land acknowledgement. I'd also like to tell everybody that we have a silent auction over here, so everybody can register that to try to win a prize. I will now be bringing Reverend Rachel Tedesco to the stage to read about Juneteenth.
I am so grateful to be here with you this afternoon at the Bridgewater Juneteenth Celebration. I am Reverend Rachel Tedesco, a retired Unitarian minister and a member of the First Parish UU Church in Bridgewater. I'm so proud that my church is again a co-host of this Juneteenth celebration, as it has been since the beginning of the celebration in 2021. It's alongside the Bridgewater, we sponsor alongside the Bridgewater Communities for Civil Rights, known as BCCR, and the Martin Richards Institute for Social Justice. Just a word about my faith. As Unitarian Universalists, we welcome people of different faiths or no faith to seek us out. We are a most welcoming religious community. What binds us together, we often say, is creeds, not creeds, but deeds. What binds us together is 7 core values, the center of which is love. Another of these core values is justice. I invite you to visit our table the beginning of the walkway this afternoon to learn more about us. If you don't know where the First Parish UU Church building is, it's at 50 School Street, facing the BSU Academic Quad, between the Anderson Gallery and Hunt Hall. It's also next to First Cemetery, located on Summer Street. This is the town's oldest cemetery, established in 1716. Last year, I learned about the research done on the first cemetery by 2 distinguished BSU professors, Dr. Jamie Huff and Dr. Emily Field. 2 articles on their work were published in the fall 2023 issue of the BSU magazine. From these articles, I read that at least 30 of the graves are known to be of Black residents. There may be more, since many of these graves are unmarked. The fact that these graves are on the edge of the cemetery is a clear symbol of their marginalization. The town of Bridgewater was founded in 1716. Black slavery was legal and common in the early days of Bridgewater. We know it was across Massachusetts and in many historic New England communities. You think it might just be in the South, but that's not true. Slavery was abolished by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in 1783, about 67 years later. That was about 100 years before the end of the Civil War and the end of slavery across the nation. June 19th marks Juneteenth, which is a federally recognized holiday commemorating the emancipation of enslaved individuals in Texas on June 19, 1865. The day was officially recognized as a federal holiday in 2021, when the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act was signed into effect. I offer you this quote from the Brockton Interfaith Community. Juneteenth is not just history, it's a mirror. Freedom was declared, but justice is still a journey. Today we honor the resilience of our ancestors and recommit to the work of liberation, not just symbolic freedom, real equity, real change. I'll now pass this on to my friend and co-chair of the Bridgewater Juneteenth Planning Committee, Janice Means.
Okay, hello everyone. So just so you know, the theme of this Juneteenth, our 5th Juneteenth, I'm gonna keep saying that because that is a milestone, is that June is Black Music History Month. And so at a point of this, we're gonna be playing some music to get you going. We have a dance group that's gonna do some dance and get you up here and going. So if you have a blanket, pull out your blanket. If you just want to sit on the grass, sit on the grass. But when it's time to dance, we want you all to get up and start dancing. So, like I said, thank you for coming out to BSU to celebrate African American history, liberation, and resistance. My name is Janice Campbell Means. I am one of the co-chairs of the Bridgewater Juneteenth Planning Committee. And like I said, this is a special year for Bridgewater and the committee because this year marks our 5th Juneteenth in this town, and that is something. African American music is the backbone of many musical genres. So our Juneteenth Planning Committee took some time, well actually our MC Justin Means took some time to put pen and paper to express our thoughts about how African American music expresses freedom. A printed version of what I am saying is in your program books. And if you haven't received a program book, please reach out to our many volunteers and they will get you one. Music has always told stories of the struggles of Black people or celebrated their victories. We can use songs to help our children not only feel proud of what Black people have overcome, but also help history come alive. When enslaved Africans were forced to toil on plantations, on ships, and in almost every type of U.S. labor imaginable, it was music that was but a call for a guide to their freedom. As we look at the history of Black people in America, music has always been at the core of highlighting our struggles and triumphs as a community. Spirituals such as Wade in the Water, Song of the Free, and Down in the River to Pray often had coded messages for people understanding what's going on. Because this spiritual provided both solace and direction during slavery, they were also the kinds of songs sung in the first Juneteenth celebrations, when on June 19, 1865, over 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, and over a year after the Civil War ended, Black people in Galveston, Texas were told slavery had been abolished in the Confederacy. Black people rejoiced and became those celebrations were initially held in churches. That same spirit, the same spirituals that have gotten them through slavery were also part of the festivities. As June celebrations grew, so did the music. So that the music you would find at them. This evolution is a reflection of Black people's relationship with music and with its use as an expression of our desire and freedom. Throughout the decades, music can help us heal from past struggles. It can give us language to use and help us to find the words we are seeking. And when we have that language, we can help our kids not only feel proud of what Black people have overcome, but also the history that comes alive. And without further ado, we'd like to introduce President of BSU, President Fred Clark.
Thank you very much. It's good to see everyone. I want to thank, first of all the organizers of the Juneteenth event here at BSU. Thank you very much for all of what you've done, all of our orange-shirted folks. Well done. Keep coming back to Bridgewater State. I also want to take a minute on behalf of our university to introduce some very, very special guests that we have here on this campus. Every year for the past 8 years, we've had some folks come from Africa, continental Africa, and also Cape Verde. They're the best. They're the very best of rising talent in Africa. So it's called the Young African Leaders Initiative. We call it Mandela Fellows, YALI for short. They're all right here. Say hello to them. Make sure you have a chance to say hello. They're here for 6 weeks. They brought this beautiful weather with them. I told them we've had at least 13 weekends of rain until they got here. Thank you for the sunshine. And by the way, I would just say this very, very briefly. This is one of the best programs that the United States State Department offers. One of the best in the world. There's only 18 colleges or universities that participate. Bridgewater State is very, very proud to be one of them. I'm going to be very brief. Words matter. A couple of days ago, I was on a board, and the board was talking about the need to have diversity, equity, and inclusion, those 3 words, in its goals. And some of the folks that are on that board said, well, words don't really matter. It's only actions that matter. And we all know that actions matter. But I would submit this. Words are what create action. Words do matter. Words matter, and I said that at the meeting. But here on this campus, the word diversity includes race, but it also includes ethnicity. It includes religion. It includes socioeconomic status. If you're low income, it includes you. If you have a physical challenge, it includes you. If you're old age, as you might describe it, it includes you. It includes also veteran status. If our first generation students on this campus, it includes them. Now inclusion, I think people understand what inclusion means. Get to the table, have an equal voice, and we go from there. Here on this campus, we know that the word belonging is bigger than inclusion. It's bigger than feeling welcome, and we have work to do even on this campus as an equity leader. But it's the word equity that people do not understand in our country. We're celebrating our Declaration of Independence next year, 250 years old. In the Declaration of Independence of this country, you will find the word equality. Equality. It's repeated in the Constitution. It's been repeated by just about every president since, from Lincoln to Kennedy and beyond. But you cannot have equality without equity interventions. Equity interventions understand that not all people come from the same place, have the same family supports, the same income, the same educational opportunities, and that it's okay. It's okay to provide an intervention to give people a fair chance to compete. It doesn't guarantee an outcome, but it does give people a fair chance to compete. Bridgewater State University is 185 years old this year. We were founded as an equity intervention. So words matter. Words matter. Diversity, equity, inclusion, those words matter. And it's what we do here on this campus very proudly every single day. So with that, let's celebrate Juneteenth today, but then let's remind ourselves that tomorrow we have to continue to fight for the freedoms that we all enjoy. Thanks so much.
A Brave and Startling Truth by Maya Angelou. We, this people on a small and lonely planet, traveling through casual space, past aloof stars, across the way of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we learn a brave and startling truth. And when we come to it, to the day of peacemaking, when we release our fingers from fists of hostility, when we come to it, when the curtain falls on the minstrel show of hate and faces scooted with scorn are scrubbed clean, when battlefields and coliseum no longer rake our unique and particular sons and daughters up with the bruised and bloody grass, to lay them in identical plots in foreign soil. When the rapist storming of the churches, the screaming racket in the temples have ceased, when the pennants are waving gaily, when the banners of the world tremble stoutly in a good clean breeze, when we come to it, when we let the rifles fall from our shoulders and our children can dress their dolls in flags of truce, when landmines of death have been removed, and the aged can walk into evenings of peace, when religious ritual is not performed by the incense of burning flesh, and childhood dreams are not kicked away, waked by nightmares of sexual abuse. When we come to it, then we will confess that not the pyramids with their stones set in mysterious perfection, nor the gardens of Babylon, hanging as eternal beauty in our collective memory, not the Grand Canyon kindled into delicious color by western sunsets, nor the Danube following its blue soil into Europe, not the sacred peak of Mount Fiji stretching to the rising sun, neither Father Amazon nor Mother Mississippi, who, without favor, nurtures all creatures in their depths and on their shores. These are not the only wonders of the world. When we come to it, we, this people on the minuscule globe, who reach daily for the bomb, the blade, and the dagger, yet who petition in the dark for tokens of peace. We, this people on this mote of matter, and whose mouth abide cankerous words, which challenge our very existence. Yet out of those same mouths can come songs of such exquisite sweetness that the heart falters in its labor and the body is quieted into awe. We, this people on this small and drifting planet, whose hands can stride with such abandon that in a twinkling life is sapped from the living, yet those hands can touch with such healing and irresistible tenderness that the haughty neck is happy to bow and the proud back is glad to bend. Out of such chaos of contradiction, we learn that we are neither devils nor divines. When we come to it, we, this people on this wayward floating body, created on this earth of this earth, have the power to fashion for this earth a climate where every man and woman can live freely without sanctimonious pity, without crippling fear. When we come to it, we must confess that we are the possible, we are the miraculous, we are the true wonder of this world. That is when and only when we come to it.
Good afternoon, I'm Esther Nettie. Juneteenth marks the end of the United States enslaving people. That last mark of freedom was when Major General Granger ordered the final enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas on June 19, 1865. The word Juneteenth combines the word June and 19. This is when Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas and announced the end of the Civil War and the freedom of all enslaved African Americans in the state. It marks a significant moment in American history, recognizing the delayed implementation of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas. I'm here as proof of how far we've come. I represent what Juneteenth did in empowering future generations, and this holiday stands as a constant reminder of how far we need to go. A constant reminder that we, all of us Americans, need to continue being change agents. What does Juneteenth mean to me? It means freedom, love, and unity. But with that comes change. Change is to adapt to something else, create something new. We've all experienced change before, whether getting a new job, moving to a new community, purchasing a new car, or simply growing up. And experiencing the many change along that journey, all of these come with change. For African Americans during the Civil War, change was something that they desperately wished for. Martin Luther King Jr. dreamed of change from segregation. Frederick Douglass wrote about change after he gained his freedom, but not all change was welcome. Still, change is a good thing. Without change, we wouldn't be seeing young people of color becoming doctors, congressional leaders, teachers, lawyers, CEOs, engineers, and more. Change also means evolution. With an evolution of time, we see the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery. That comes with the strength and resilience of African Americans and their allies. Their fellow Americans who value and want change, we press and vocalize the need for change through protests, strikes, and boycotts. Without taking action to address unfair practices and policies, we wouldn't have the society we have today. As Barack Obama once said, change will not come if we wait for some other person or change other times. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Soraya Tizignew, and this is my speech about freedom. How does freedom relate to Juneteenth? People think of freedom as being able to live how we want and make our own choices. But for the longest time in American history, not everyone had freedom or even understood what it was. June 19, 1865 is an important day in which enslaved African Americans in Texas were finally given their freedom 2 years after the other African Americans in America. It was a late but powerful start to new beginnings. Juneteenth is a reminder that our freedom should never be taken for granted and people still have to fight for it. As we celebrate Juneteenth this year, we aren't only celebrating the end of slavery, we are celebrating the freedom we have and the hope and the courage of those who never stop fighting. Today we remind ourselves that we have the freedom to live life as we want and to also keep pushing for a world where everyone is truly free. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Prince Wogu. Thank you guys for coming here. For me, Juneteenth represents unity. It represents how far we've come as a country and how powerful it is when people come together to fight for what's right. Juneteenth marks the day in 1865 when the last enslaved Black Americans in Texas finally learned they were free 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. That delay shows us that freedom isn't always handed out fairly. Sometimes it has to be fought for, waited on, and spoken about. But when the message finally reached the world, it meant that every person in this country could take a step toward equality. That moment, delayed or not, mattered. Juneteenth is more than just history. It's about celebrating how strong our communities are. It's a reminder that we're better when we stand together, learn from the past, and push forward with respect for each other. Whether you're Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, biracial, or from another country, this day is about unity and how freedom is not limited to the color of our skin or our sexual orientation or our religion. Humanity means we stand together, standing up for and with each other whenever our humanity is threatened. Therefore, on Juneteenth, we don't just celebrate the end of slavery, we celebrate the progress, the strength, and the idea that not one of us truly are free until all of us are free. Thank you all.
Good afternoon. My name is Machukwu Okoli, and I shall explain what exactly Juneteenth means to me. On this day, we as a group of African Americans vow to remember our past and continue to hope for a better future. As we know, June 19th marks the day General Granger announced the freedom of slaves in Galveston Bay, Texas, 900 days after the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect. For those 900 days and several years before that, I'm sure the enslaved Africans of Galveston Bay were not fatalistic about their lives as slaves and continued to have faith and hope for freedom. Faith and hope is what I plan to proceed to talk about in its connection with this special day. Throughout history, people of color have worked to not break under suppression and have always fought back for equality. Whether they participated in a sit-in or walked in a march, every act of protest has the same motive: hope that eventually it'll be different, and hope one day we will no longer have such a heavy weight on our backs. According to the Oxford Dictionary, faith means to have complete trust or confidence in someone or something. So when we gather as a group together with people of different religions and backgrounds, we are all trying to fight for what is right with complete faith in our actions, bringing out the necessary outcomes. I believe that Juneteenth is about hope for the future and having faith that as long as you believe in it and stand for what is right, it'll come to you and it'll come to us. I would like to leave you with a quote from Wilma Rudolph, the African-American sprinter who overcame polio and became an Olympian track champion. She said, "Never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of the human spirit." Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Delinks Demitisha Matisse. In Matthew chapter 22, verse 39, it says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." Throughout history, African Americans have shown love, support, and encouragement towards each other in many ways. Whether it's a traditional family cookout, being at churches, mosques, or temples, or even on the basketball court. Love is something we've had for each other as we dealt with lows and highs of life. However, in recent years, there are forces that challenge that unity through social media, politics, misinformation, fear, and a lack of awareness from whence we came. As our history seems to fade into the past and we become more removed from it, we need moments like this, moments like today, to celebrate Juneteenth, to remember the struggles of the past and the price paid for our freedom. Love is the binding factor that unites us, that leads us to empathize with one another. A love for truth, a love for humanity, and a love for people is what needs to be at the forefront of how we all interact with each other. Unity is also a key element that brings us together. I think about the unity we find as communities around the state, the country, and the world came together after the tragic death of George Floyd. During this time, people came together seeking to process the tragedy and share outrage. We came together as one, people of different races, genders, sexual orientations, and religious backgrounds. People showed love to his family and united to say that that cannot happen again. We stood together as one, and this is what Juneteenth is about: loving and caring for each other and uniting as one. One nation under God as we stand up for liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brianna Riley. Thank you all for being here today. I wanted to take a moment to speak from my heart what Juneteenth really means, not just historically, but as a mirror to our lives today. In 1865, there was a delay in emancipation, and it wasn't just about slow communication. It was about greed, and in many ways, that delay reflects in the struggles we as the Black community face today. Juneteenth reminds us that equality does not come from someone just saying, "You're equal." It comes from us putting hard work, policies, and progressing forward, even when someone chooses to turn a blind eye. And we've seen both progress and pain with those like Barack Obama, Sam Cooke, Amanda Gorman, and Claudette Colvin, who've inspired so many. But on the other hand, we've seen George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and Trayvon Martin's lives taken from the earth so soon. As a reminder that even with the hard work being put in, sometimes it feels like it's not just enough. Yet, we keep on showing up and we keep on fighting and loving ourselves through it all. Even when our schools are underfunded, when our neighborhoods are over-policed, and when we're followed throughout stores and denied jobs and basic resources. When our Black mothers and sisters and daughters are dying at increased rate because of bias in medicine, we are still going to work 10 times longer and 100 times harder. It gets exhausting having to carry the weight of history on top of the struggle just to survive today. It's heavy. And the truth is, being Black in America today often means living in a constant state of duality. From code switching in an interview to watching your culture be imitated but not respected. It's trying to find peace in a world that seems to always be working against you. But let this not be demoralizing, for it is instead a wake-up call. A wake-up call to remind the people we need to carry power with us no matter where we go. Our workplaces, politics, schools. Let's challenge the system holding our people back, because Juneteenth isn't just about looking back and remembering the history that happened. It's also looking forward and being honest on how much further we have to go. So don't let this just be a celebration with good food and even better vibes. Let it be a loud reminder that the fight is not over until all of us are free. Thank you.
Alrighty, so we have Reverend Rachel Tedesco, who has a closing prayer.
I offer you this prayer by a Black UU minister, Reverend Ade Amakraba. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Ade Amakraba, a minister at the UU congregation of New Braunfels, Texas, a suburb of San Antonio. It's her prayer for Juneteenth. Creator of all, as believers in justice, woven into a single garment of life, making us one with the human family, let us rejoice for those who safely pass through the shades of night towards the daylight of freedom. Spirit of all possibilities, may we be blessed with true freedom, free of all oppressions. Spirit of hope, with grateful hearts, we lift our voices in shared solidarity, holding each other safe in the fire of justice and the light of love. Amen, and blessed be.
Let us all be in a moment of silence, please. Gracious and Almighty Father, as we close our day out in remembrance of those who came before us, let us part our ways and go safely into this world, making peace and justice to all those who come before us, after us, and in the years to come. Let us go out into our communities and share with those our love and our prosperity. In these things we ask as we depart our ways, let us remember you. And only you can help us fix our worries, and only you can bring peace to this world. But as we go forth, let us be the agents of peace for this community. Thank you, thank you, thank you.